Hi, I'm Marius from MWest Photography and welcome back to another episode of Digital Photography Today, the show where you will learn how to become the master of your camera. Now, this week's topic is tabletop photography, and this will be part one. Next week we will have another episode on this topic. Now, my goal is, currently we have winter here and it's really pouring outside. So I want to show you that you can create some interesting stuff at your house. You don't necessarily need to go out. So it's going to start with your table, okay? Tabletop photography. So what I've done, I've just lifted this table a little bit because it's not very high. So I don't want to sit like this trying to take my pictures. So I've lifted it up, especially also because I'm using the projector screen. You'll soon see why I'm doing that. Now, if we look at our subject matter, I've got a bottle of wine and then a wine glass filled with iced tea. I'm not going to open up the wine bottle because otherwise the day will not be very productive, or the rest of the day will not be very productive. Okay, so the color of the wine or the ice, it doesn't really matter because you'll soon see what I'm going to do. Now, I don't want to just take a picture of here's a bottle of wine and there's a glass. Now, with a subject like this with wine bottles, it's also very tricky because they are very reflective. So basically anything in this room that's on, you should maybe be able to see my video light there reflected in the bottle. So any light that's turned on, you will see. Now again, I've only got one video light on today because I want to do a long exposure. I'm going to use flash to light the bottle the way I want to take the image. And then I want to bring in what we learned in the previous episode where I used electric wire on my hand to create a blue flame. So I'm going to do the same on this bottle. And I want to show you that you can do so much while you are at home. You don't need to go out to take pictures. So if you've got terrible weather, there's no excuse. You can also take awesome pictures. Now, I'm going to use off-camera flash for my shot, but you can use anything. Now, right here below the table, I've got a GorillaPod with my Nikon SP910 speed light, and I'm using the flash Q receiver, and you can see on the Fuji X-T1 you have also got the little transmitter there, the flash Q transmitter, and I've got the receiver there on the flash. And then on the front of the flash I've got one of these gels, and I'm using the red one. Now what I want to do is I want to backlit this bottle. So if you don't have a flash, you can do the exact same thing. You just have your normal light source there. So if you've got a bulb shining against this, you've got the exact same thing. If you want to change the color, put a piece of cellophane in front of the bulb. Just be careful the bulb is not maybe too hot and might melt the cellophane. If you're using a very low wattage bulb, then it should be fine, like your LEDs or your CFLs. But just be careful of, if you're still using them, your tungsten light bulbs, like really. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to light the background with that speed light, and I'm not sure if you can see it on the video, but it's tilted upwards, so it's hitting this. So obviously there won't be light coming from the front. The light will bounce and it will basically hit the back of the bottle. And the reason I'm using this table, I like the color and the texture that's on this wooden table, and I think it suits the subject matter I'm taking a picture of. Now for the camera settings, or before I go to the camera settings, here's the electric wire. This is a pinkish one, or cerise pink or whatever, I'm not sure what color this is, but you'll notice it's going to turn a different color once I use it on there. So that's what I'm going to use for the long exposure. For the basic shot we're going to take, I'm just going to use that flash. I just want to trigger this flash so it's still firing because this thing goes in sleep mode eventually. Okay, so for the settings I've got here, it should be 1/25 of a second for the shutter. My aperture is f10, and then my ISO is 200. Okay, now I've still got the video light on and I don't need to turn it off because the video light is not as strong as my flash is. Now, I think my flash is set to, I think it's quarter power. Yeah, my flash is set to quarter power. So my flash is much stronger than the video light, so I can keep the video light on for the first image. It won't really interfere with the shot at all. So I'm going to turn this camera on, focus on Mr. Wineglass and take my shot. Then when we preview it, you can see this black bottle of wine. I don't really care about the label. I just want that nice effect on the glass. You can see the nice shape, the lighting there on the glass, and it's all coming from behind. You don't have that extreme, like if a flash went off, you're going to see that flash right there on the bottle. You don't see that because the light's coming from behind. So that's a very pleasing shot. And the nice thing is, what we see here and the shot we're getting is completely different. So you're thinking outside of the box. So use your ambient light sources at home if you do not have off-camera flashes, and then light the bottle the way you want to. Now, like I said, I also want to do a long exposure with the same image. So I'm going to change the shutter speed to, let's see, I'm going to make it 20, let's go to 25 seconds, still f10 and still ISO 200. I just want to give myself quite a lot more time to do this. Now, like I said, any light that's on in this room, it will show up in the bottle. So what I've got in the corner, packed behind some soft boxes so it's not too bright, I've got an LED video light. I'm just shining against the back side of the room to give me a little bit of light so that I can see where this bottle is, because as you'll notice when I'm moving it, you can see this table is obviously not standing very sturdy. It's just on two chairs which have got a cushion, so I don't want to bump this entire table off the chair here. So I need to put this on the bottle like that. So I'm going to have to do that, and I'm going to create my light by doing this up and down over the bottle. So I just want a little bit of light to see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to turn the video light off, and you should basically see nothing. It should be pitch black for you now. And then I'm going to focus, take the shot, the flash goes off, and it takes the same image that we just did without the long exposure. I've now got the light on here, and as you can see, I'm moving the light. I need the light to stay down. I think we're going to have to do this one again. Maybe we'll see the result I'm getting. Sometimes if you've got a little bit of a blooper, it actually comes out pretty cool. So let's see what we get. So if I'm looking at the shot, it actually came out very awesome. It's almost like the bottle is like on fire or something. Okay, I think we can do another one, just see what the difference will be like. Focus, take the shot, the flash obviously goes off. That takes the picture the way we want it, and now I bring in my extra light source because I'm doing a long exposure. So this time it's actually gripping onto the bottle nicely, but I think it's going to be too bright at the bottom. Not sure if this one's going to work because the light's basically stuck at the bottom of the bottle, so it might be super bright at the bottom, but let's see what it looks like. It's not too bad, but I think the previous shot is much better. The previous shot is lovely. Okay, just want to turn on this video light if I can find the switch. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, it's really simple to find stuff to do at home. Get like for instance, I could have used these little, I don't know what you call them, like little, they call crystal accents or something on the package. I don't know what you call them. I could have put this inside the glass, maybe took the wine bottle away and took something completely different, created a different image. And you can do that all from stuff lying around at your house. If you don't have flashes, you don't have off-camera flash, the only difference you're going to get is I was shooting at 1/25 of a second and I was using f10. So if you're shooting without your flash, obviously your light source will now be much dimmer and you will have to do a long exposure. So definitely your camera will have to be on a tripod, and then you obviously have the light shining there, and you go to your camera and you set your exposure. Now your shutter speed obviously will not be 1/25 anymore. It will now be more like 5 seconds or 10 seconds or something, depending on how dim the light source is I'm shining from the bottom. But in the end you will get something very similar. What I like about using flashes is consistency. As long as that flash is set to quarter power and my setting is 1/25 of a second at f10, ISO 200, every shot I'm going to take will look exactly the same. So that's why I prefer to use it that way, because I can control the shots. If I try and replicate it, I'm using the same setup, next time it will look exactly the same. Maybe if you're using an ambient light source, it might differ, I don't know. I prefer, and I always basically use flashes when I can to do something that just makes life a lot easier. So that's the only real difference. There's nothing stopping you. You can do this with a bridge camera. You can do this with your SLR. If you've got a point and shoot camera that you can set the shutter and the aperture, you can do this shot. Okay, so that's all for this week's episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed it, what's wrong with you? Why haven't you subscribed 30 videos ago? Click that subscribe button and get all these awesome episodes as they come out. And then in the next video, I'm going to show you how to use a light tent for product photography or tabletop photography. Same stuff at home you might just want to take a very cool picture of. I'm going to show you how to do that. And if you don't have a light tent, I'm going to show you how to make your own light tent. I'm going to explain to you how you can make your own light tent. So see you in the next episode. Bye.